Hello everyone, I'm Andy with Liminal Entertainment Technologies, and today I'm going to show you how to control your Zoom meeting with a media server, specifically Isadora by Troicatronic. So what we're going to show in this video is how to connect Isadora to ZoomOSC. ZoomOSC is an expanded version of the Zoom client that adds open sound control. OSC is a protocol that you can send from hosts and clients. And what we've done is we've added OSC to Zoom so you can run it like a console. The idea is that when you run ZoomOSC, you're able to send commands like spotlight this person, pin this person, mute this person, so on and so forth. And there's a ton of different control interfaces, but I use media servers pretty often for live theater work. So I'm going to show you how I connect it to Isadora to be able to send commands from Isadora to ZoomOSC. So I'm going to launch the media server. So we're going to keep this really simple, and I'm going to show you how to use Isadora to send the basic control commands to ZoomOSC. So once you've downloaded ZoomOSC from our website, you should join a Zoom call. You can log into an account, or what I'll do is I'll just click the Only Join button, and I will join a meeting that I've created. The meeting ID is 929-436-1-5790. And my name, I'm going to just do ZoomOSC. And the password is 390467. And then I hit join. And now I'll have the host let me into the Zoom call. Great, so now that I'm in the Zoom call, I'm going to have the host of the Zoom meeting make ZoomOSC a co-host. Great, so now that I'm a co-host, I'll be able to call commands that only hosts and co-hosts can call. I also, usually I will not show my own video feed in the Zoom call. What I'll do is I'll set this to some sort of virtual source as a feedback monitor for the participants in the call. And the way I do that is by leaving the video on, but going and hiding self-view. So I'll do that. So now I have a gallery view and an active view because I run ZoomOSC in multi-monitor mode, which I can get to by going to the video settings, going up to the general tab, and ticking the box for you'll use dual monitors, and then restarting the app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gallery view, I'm going to throw it onto one monitor, I'm going to take the active view, and I'm going to throw it onto another monitor, double click on both to go full screen. Great, and so now I have an active view and a gallery view. So these are both things that you could ingest into Isadora as video sources if you wanted to start designing a show or an event. But for now, I'm just going to show you some of the basics of how to get control programmatically from Isadora to ZoomOSC. So the first thing you want to do is create a new scene, and you are going to create a OSC Multitransmit actor. So the OSC Multitransmit actor has a couple different fields. It has a UDP address, a port, an address, whether you are type specific, a pin to actually transmit on, and the number of inputs you want to send. So to know what to fill out here, you should check our ZoomOSC API, which you can access on our website. I'm going to use version 3.2. So I'm going to just look at this reference, and I'm going to see all the different functions that we support in ZoomOSC and the syntax for them. And you'll note that ZoomOSC always runs on port 8000. Now, we happen to be running ZoomOSC and Isadora on the same computer, so I can leave the UDP address as localhost. Where the port is, I'm going to type 8000. For the address, I'm going to say, all right, well, first I need to do memory initialization. So I'm going to type in /zoom/update, and I'll leave everything else as is. So now what I can do is I can get a keyboard watcher, and I'll leave it on the A key, and I'll hook it up to the transmit port on the OSC Multitransmit actor. If I hit the A key, you will see that it fired the packet, and in ZoomOSC, it said, okay, I heard an update. Here are the people who are in the call. And that's what the update function does. It pulls the Zoom API, figures out who is in the call, and it gives you control bindings for each of them. So this is great. I can see that Jane is 0, Pat is 1, Liz is 2, so on and so forth. And these are the numbers that'll be the arguments for subsequent packets that we want to send. So for example, if I wanted to have another OSC Multitransmit, and this time I wanted to use the pin to function, which will pin somebody to a second display. And let's say I want to pin John to the second display. I'll put a 3 into value 1. And then when I fire this packet, I'll just click on it for this one. John gets pinned on the active view. I could do leave pin as is. If I wanted to switch myself out of gallery view and into active view and pin person 2, which would be Liz, so that to a 2. And now the gallery view, we're taken out of that. We get the pop-up view that we could drag off of screen if we don't want to see it in our capture. And now we have 2 full screen views of 2 actors that we could composite with green screens or whatever we wanted to do if we're doing video ingest. Let's say I want to go back to the gallery view. That's /zoom/gallery. And then you have to type in a 1 if you want the gallery view and a 0 if you want the active speaker view. So I'll send that, and we're back in gallery view. So there are a ton of different functions that you can send once you have this set up. And again, you can build these triggers out kind of however you need. You can make it as complex as you want. We have some example files of Isadora programming available on our website if you want to see some more complex configurations. One thing I will say is that sometimes there is merit to putting a little bit of delay before you transmit a packet. So for example, if I have a keyboard watcher that's maybe watching the F key, and what this F key is going to do is it is going to bring me into active speaker view on the gallery view or the primary display. So I'm going to have a trigger value. I'm going to make that a 0 so that we go to the active view. That's going to populate value 1. And then instead of just directly connecting the keyboard watcher to the transmit line, I'm actually going to put a trigger delay of 100th of a second, so 0.01 in the trigger delay, and I'm going to hook it up there and hook it up there. And the reason for doing this is that this is going to make sure that the value propagates into the OSC Multitransmit actor before the packet is fired. So if I hit the F key, now I reliably am able to go in and make sure that that 0 propagates in. This is really helpful if you have OSC transmitters that you're using for a lot of different functions and you're populating them with different things in your patch to be able to get that control. So now the idea is if I wanted to programmatically build out a show, what I could do is I could grab, let's say I switch this over to, well, let's just make a new one. I copy that and create /zoom/pin, and then I copy this and I make some new scenes. Now I can sort of, as I'm building out my patch, I can marry my video effects to calls to Zoom. And this is the power of using a media server with Zoom together. You can kind of use ZoomOSC to get the information you want into your media server, kind of using it like a CDN. So let's say I want an enter scene trigger hooked up to this function, and we're going to pin, we'll pin Jane. That's what it's automatically going to do. So now if I enter this scene, Jane gets pinned on the primary display. And then let's say in the next scene, I want to pin somebody else, like Pat. I'm going to put a 1 in here. And now if I, start to pop between scenes, Jane is pinned, and then Pat is pinned. So I can go, advance the scene, and now we have a different line coming in, which is great. That's sort of the goal for this this control. Now, you probably want to have persistent control bindings between runs of your show or your event, and there's a couple different ways that you can do that. The easiest one is to go ahead and save the contents of memory to a text file. So if I create a new call here to /zoom/save, what this will do is it will create, and you'll see this in the console, it says saving to order to performance config.txt. So if you take a look at the ZoomOSC folder, you'll notice that there is a text file, performance config.txt, and the contents of this file are identical to the contents of memory. And you can modify this file and then use the load function to create persistent bindings. So for example, if I always want John to be user number 0, on a 0 index list, I'll just put John in the first row, and I will Control S to save. And then I will call /zoom/load, fire that packet. Now you'll see John is in slot 0. And so when I go into this scene, now it automatically calls a pin on user 0, which is John now, and then the other one is Jane. So these the contents of memory reflect the ordering that we want to have in our view. And so this means that at top of day, all you have to do is call load. If you've already filled out this text file, you can even fill it out before you see the actors. And this will allow you to build programmatically your show and be able to use Zoom, specifically ZoomOSC, to get the content that you're looking for into your media server.
So that's an overview of how to use Isadora to control your Zoom meeting. As always, if you have any questions, please send us an email at info@liminalet.com. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We also have a public Slack group that's available for power users or folks who have questions to learn more about ZoomOSC and how others are using it for their virtual performances.